Now let us continue with our class on a journey to the West. It seems that we are about to end our third stop, and on the fourth stop, Phuntsog Rinpoche would be giving the instructions on Jetsun Ningtik, which is quite profound, and I'm not sure what to do with it yet. Should I maybe stop after we complete the third stop, or should we continue to the fourth stop? Initially, my thought was that to take all of you to the fourth stop, and then we can share our experience of visiting the next stop where it has beautiful scenery. But I'm not sure what I should do yet. Let us now continue with our journey to the West. On July the 6th in the morning, Phuntsog Rinpoche gave the teachings on essentials of the practice manual of Peaceful Manjushri. Nizhi Norwu briefly met the managing members of Rocky Mountain Dharma Center. Then Dorji Kasong came to pay their respects. They wore their military uniforms and sang a song of Kalachakra, creating auspicious signs for Shambhala community to dispel obstacles in wrathful forms. Now you can see the members wearing the uniforms. Many people came to take photos with Rinpoche. In the fourth stop, there are more people who would come and take photos with Rinpoche wearing uniforms. And then Rinpoche asked the members of the Shambhala community to recruit the bigger man with big beard to come and take photos with Choji, and the Shambhala management didn't really want to offend people by saying that big beard or being big and take photos with them. So they would approach people who had big beard and then look bigger and then ask them, do you want to take a photo with the Choji? Mainly, Phuntsog Rinpoche wanted to take photos with those wrathful-looking people so that he could show the pictures to Khenpo Gato, because Khenpo Gato wanted to see the pictures and photos of the Western practitioners and Western people. He said that, well, I heard that there are all kinds of people in all kinds of people or different-looking people in the West. Could you please bring me back some photos? That is why Phuntsog Rinpoche wanted to ask the ones that looks big and with big beard to take photos with him. I'm not entirely sure of his reasons, but mainly I think that's the reason behind it. So over here, they took a photo with Phuntsog Rinpoche. It's quite interesting. Khenpo is mimicking the warrior's cry over here. In the afternoon, Choji gave the reading transmission for Peaceful Manjushri, placing Buddhahood within reach, and without any preparation in advance, he expounded on the essential points to the audience or disciples gathered. Well, on this page, you can see the photo of the printout of the text. After even 30 years, this is still captured by the practitioners. I really think that they're doing very well in terms of keeping those texts with them, even after 30 years, really. How many of you will be able to keep your texts for 30 years? I wonder. The cycle of Peaceful Manjushri in itself is the essential of all Dzogchen teachings and is endowed with many extraordinary qualities. What's more exceptional was the teaching Choji offered at this time was to condense the heart essence of the cycle. Well, I truly feel that Pontsuk Rinpoche gave a really excellent teaching over there, because within a very short period of time, the disciples required Pontsuk Rinpoche to give oral transmission as well as giving the heart teaching of this cycle. Within such a short period of time, Pontsuk Rinpoche fulfilled their wishes. In my class, I have already mentioned that this heart essence of the cycle is indeed really crucial. It's such a core teaching. So let's take a look at it. In a seemingly casual manner, within simple and direct words, he explicitly and precisely introduced each introduction in the manual in a manner that was full of pithy instructions and powerful blessings. These Vajra words that arose spontaneously from the expanse of his awareness were something that ordinary people would find to be inconceivable. I truly think that this kind of teaching is very difficult for ordinary people to even come up with after years and years of practice, but this is really my perspective. I've written my perspective down, and you can read this teaching and contemplate upon it yourself and see if you would be able to come up with such concise teachings. When it comes to the four contemplations, would you be able to make such condensed teaching with such pith? I remember on that day, I feel that, wow, Pontsuk Rinpoche really offered them such pith instructions. So Khenpo then taught as follows. In general, this practice manual is a guidebook for stage-by-stage practice on complete path to full awakening. So it is not necessary to use its Tibetan version for you for your entire practice. If you have clearly understood the meaning in English, you need not to go back to Tibetan text and recite that as well. So regarding sadhanas and aspiration prayers, it is the best to recite them in their original language, because that language has been blessed by the author. Because the author, especially who have already attained accomplished the power of authentic words. So he continued to say that, take the sadhana of Peaceful Manjushri as an example. Since it was written down in Tibetan, you should recite it in Tibetan to receive more blessings than if recited in English. The principle is that if a text, whether it be written in English, Sanskrit, or any other languages, has been blessed by those who have accomplished the power of authentic words, one can use that language to recite or receive the great blessings. For instance, although Buddhist sutras and shastras composed by Indian masters were initially written in Sanskrit, when they were translated into Tibetan, great Lotsawas such as Bhartana and so on blessed their Tibetan translations with the power of their authentic words of truth. Therefore, the sadhanas translated by them can be recited in Tibetan without losing any blessings. As long as a translation has been blessed by the authentic words of realized noble beings, no matter into which language it was translated, we can recite it to receive the same blessings as in its original language. When one accomplishes the power of authentic words of truth, those of superior faculties accomplish authentic words on the path of unification. Those of medium faculties accomplish them on the first bodhisattva bhumi, while those of inferior faculty accomplish them on the eighth bodhisattva bhumi. The sign for accomplishing authentic words can be explained by two examples. For instance, if a city is on fire, then those with the power of authentic words say, "May the fire be extinguished," then the fire will go out immediately. Or if a person is seriously ill and those with the power of authentic words say, "May sickness be cured," then the patient will recover soon. I personally believe that the Tibetan version of the sadhana of Peaceful Manjushri has been blessed by Lord Manjushri, and the sadhana of Vajrakilaya Kirkma has been blessed by Ordinary Rinpoche Pamasambhava, so please recite them in Tibetan. The Peaceful Manjushri, however, one can remember the meaning and then recite it in other languages. Pontsuk Rinpoche had given permissions for that. And then Pontsuk Rinpoche gave of the essential instructions of placing Buddhahood within reach. What is taught in placing Buddhahood within reach? It offers all kinds of all the key points of an entire Buddhist path, from the preliminary practices to the beginners to the ultimate stage of attaining Buddhahood. When one first enters the path, it is of great importance to contemplate and meditate as much as possible on the four thoughts that turns the mind from samsara. The four thoughts are the difficulty of obtaining freedom and the advantages of a human birth, and then the second one, the impermanence of life, and the third one, the infallible law of cause and effect, and then the fourth one is the suffering of samsara. These contemplations are the common preliminary practices. So let's look at how Peaceful Manjushri give the very concise teachings about that. Let's see, the first one is contemplate the difficulty of obtaining freedom and advantages of a human birth. Be aware that such a precious human life that is endowed with freedoms and advantages is extremely difficult to obtain. By thinking of its cause, the analogies illustrated the difficulties and numerical comparisons of such a precious existence with other forms of life. Since we have obtained such a precious human life, we should be filled with great joy, never wasting our life under any circumstances, but using it to actively practice the pure Dharma. This is the guidance on the precious human existence. And then the second one is contemplate the impermanence of life. Though we have obtained the precious human life, our death is certain, and the time for our death is uncertain. At the time of death, nothing except the Dharma will be helpful. So we must practice the genuine Dharma. This is the guidance on the impermanence of life. See, these words are so short and so concise that you can remember it very often. It is just like that nowadays people prefer fast food. In such a fast food age, people don't have time to go through the whole training of resting the mind at ease by Longchenpa. Nobody has the time to go through the 90-something practices. But if you can just contemplate upon such short and concise teachings of the four thoughts that turns the mind, this is really helpful and very practical. And third, contemplate the infallible law of cause and effect. When we die, we will not contemplate. We will not completely disappear like the cessation of fire or the evaporation of water. Instead, we will experience great happiness or immense suffering based on the virtuous or non-virtuous actions that we've created while being alive. So we must actualize the practice of adopting virtue and rejecting non-virtue. This is the guidance on the infallible karma law. Fourth is the contemplate on the suffering of samsara. Accumulating non-virtuous karma will lead one to be reborn in the three lower realms. In whichever lower realm one take rebirth, one will experience all kinds of unbearable suffering over an extremely long period of time. So before this suffering occur, we should diligently refrain from negative actions and undertake positive ones. This is the guidance on the suffering of samsara. Now, these are the four thoughts that turns the mind, and if a practitioner could practice in such a way, I think you would definitely gain great benefit. Those of you who created auspicious connections to Rinpoche, to this teaching, you will definitely be able to generate true renunciation, and your mind would definitely be transformed after practicing such short, concise, yet core teachings. Nowadays, people really prefer short, fast food. They don't really want to move. In the urban areas, people don't want to even go out to have food anymore. They just call and get takeout and get food delivered most of the times. Now I see many of you who come to the shrine hall to listen to the classes, to attend the classes. I see that you have dim sum with you in your hands and some cookies in your hands, and just quickly finishing them and have them as your dinners. On one hand, I feel that it's really wonderful, your spirit of obtaining Dharma, and you're going through some hardship to receive the Dharma. On the other hand, I feel quite envious, because when I was learning, when I was studying studying, and when I was young, I didn't have dim sum at all. There's no cookies, no dim sum or anything like that. During my time of studying in Larangar, it was difficult for me to keep a sustainable amount of tsampa in the bag. And when the tsampa bag is running low, when the tsampa in the bag is running low, my mind just get really anxious and worried that what if I have to leave Larangar and have to get food first before I finish receiving the Dharma teachings. But obviously now you have no concern of that at all. You can at least go to this Dharma friend's home or that one to get some dim sum and fill up your belly. There are two uncommon preliminary practices that belong to Mahayana: taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. The instruction on taking refuge is that, according to Sutrayana, taking refuge is to have the determination that along the path until the attainment of Buddhahood, we only have faith and devotion to the teacher Buddha Shakyamuni. We only follow the path of the Dharma taught by the Buddha, and we only take the Sangha as our companions. This is just that's a very short and simple teaching on taking refuge. According to the extraordinary sacred mantra, taking refuge means giving rise to the view that our true essence is already Buddha and concentrating on such recognition as the best as we can. And that is all we need to learn about taking refuge. The instruction on generating bodhicitta is to reflect that all sentient beings are enduring endless suffering and are truly miserable. Yet merely feeling pity for them is not enough. We should be able to place them in the state of Buddhahood. Cultivating such a thought is the aspirational aspect of generating bodhicitta. Further, the path that does not require one to experience hardships for a long time but enable one to attain Buddhahood easily and swiftly is the clear light great perfection. Therefore, in order to establish all beings on the state of perfect Buddhahood, we follow the path of clear light great perfection and maintain the view of this tradition. This is a practical aspect of generating bodhicitta. I remember that when Phuntsok Rinpoche was giving teachings, he looked very much at ease and relaxed because he had to wait for the translator to finish translating and then continue to speak. I remember that before the teaching, I asked the Rinpoche whether he needed me to record the text. He said, no need. I will be able to expound it at ease. If you have an opportunity to work with a translator, you will know that whenever you finish one thought, and then the translator will jump in and then translate for a long period of time, especially Sandri Khandru, because she doesn't speak that dialect, so she need to reconfirm certain words and content with someone else beside her. So it usually takes a long period of time for a translator to translate, and for people who don't have that kind of awareness, they would lose their train of thoughts and to connect to their previous part of the teachings. And the next part about Guru Yoga, should I talk about it now or tomorrow? Today or tomorrow? Today? Okay. Next is the practice of Guru Yoga. First, we need to visualize the field of merit vividly. Visualize that in the sky before you, at the center of a luminous and a magnificent rainbow sphere, and a white clouds appear on top of that. Your root guru, who is inseparable from the Bodhisattva Manjushri, his clothes and ornaments should be clearly visualized in the way described in the sadhana of Peaceful Manjushri. This is the first one, to visualize the merit field clearly. And second one is to make mandala offering. Visualize that in front of your precious root guru, you offer to him or her your body possession and all root virtues accumulated throughout 3 times without the slightest stinginess or attachment. The third is to purify obscurations through the 4 remedial powers. The power of support is your root guru, who is inseparable from Manjushri and is seated in the sky before you. The power of remorse is to have intense regret for all the negative actions you have done in the past. The power of resolution is to resolve never to commit these negative actions again, even at the cost of your own life. The power of antidote is to fiercely pray to the Guru in order to purify all the downfalls. You should earnestly purify your downfalls and obscurations through these four powers. If you remember the words of my perfect teacher in terms of the Nongzhou practice, there are long, extensive explanations of each part of these. But Ponzo Rinpoche gives such concise piece instruction over here. After the visualization of offering mandala and purification, we began the actual practice of Guru Yoga and the supplicate embodiment of all sources of refuge. Gracious root Guru, to you I pray. Please care for me and bless my mind stream. I pray that you bring my mind to maturity through empowerment, that bring maturity and liberate my mind with the instructions that bring liberation. Please inspire me with your blessings so that I may realize the profound and sublime path of the great perfection, and bless me until I perfect the four visions. This is how we should pray, and I really encourage you to pray as often as possible. At the end of supplication, visualize the Guru melts into light and dissolves into you, whereby your body, speech, and mind becomes inseparable from the Guru's body, speech, and mind, and rests single-pointedly in the state. This is the complete instruction on the practice of the Guru Yoga.